I'm Alex Seay with Bird Law Group. Welcome back to Bird's Eye View. Today we are filming a very special episode to me. Not necessarily about lawyers and what lawyers do, although you have two lawyers here, but talking more about our clients and the impact that their stories can make. And our guest today is Kara Phillips, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm a lawyer, trial lawyer. Been representing crime victims exclusively for about a decade now, and very excited to be here, Alex.
Thank you so much for coming on this lovely rainy day. It feels bright and sunny in the studio, but it is definitely gross outside. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about today was this new mission that you've been on, right? I got an email from you a little while ago, and it's something that we've been talking about for a while that I think more people need to know about. So VFJ, tell us what it is.
Yeah, so Voices of Families for Justice is a social welfare group. It's being formed as a 501c4. So the purpose is not for profit, but to serve as a watchdog for everyday families about what's going on at various levels and helping them tell their stories about their efforts to get justice.
And tort reform is no stranger to this podcast, or we are no stranger to it. And, with session coming up, right, that's the great thing about that. It's like birthdays, it comes pretty annually. I want to talk about how maybe BFJ is looking to help our clients have a voice in that, right? Because you were down at the Capitol a lot last year with your clients, and you brought together a whole group of folks who brought their clients down. And I thought that was so important. So maybe let's back it up to the genesis of it, right? Tell us about that effort last year and how you saw that have an impact or play out down at the Capitol, which, I'm not going to mince words, often feels like a place that is exclusive, right? That even though the public should have access to it and we should all be involved in it, lawyers, legislators, just regular members of the public, everyone should feel it's accessible. It's just not. So what did you do last session to try to combat that accessibility issue?
Yeah, it's definitely real. Just from the standpoint of where you park to go down to the Capitol, it is hard.
I circled that building maybe 6 times to try and find a parking spot.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. I think I ended up getting a ticket, getting in the wrong spot, obviously.
I got one too.
Yes. I was like, oh, well, you know what? I need to be here. So maybe you guys need another parking lot. Maybe that's where we start.
It would be good. It would be good. Well, so yeah. Well, that is a good plan also, or carpooling. Well, so last year, the tort reform bill that Governor Kemp proposed was enormous, and it had a lot of procedural things. And I hate lawyer talk, but there were procedural things, but there's also one substantive thing, and it was going to impact crime victims. It basically changed the rule of law in Georgia from property owners have the duty to keep the place safe from known or knowable dangers, which was really hard actually to prove. And those are the kind of cases a lot of my clients have, where someone has been raped at an apartment complex, or someone has been beaten at a gas station. Those are the kinds of cases that come up a lot in my practice. But that was the only kind of case that was attacked by tort reform. All the rest of the attack was to try and limit the things that lawyers could say and limit the amount of times that you could file and things like that. So I was watching the Senate floor, and there were no survivors talking. There were no stories of the actual people that were actually going to lose their rights anywhere, not in the media, not anywhere. And so I called the people that I represented over the past 10 years, and they came with me, and I found out how you testify in a committee hearing. You sign a little piece of paper that's on the halfway floor between the second and the third floor on the Capitol which is, again, it's hard to find your way around there. There were a few other lawyers who are also working down there, and Tanya Brooks had done a video about how you talk at the ropes, because you can talk to your Congress or your legislators by the ropes. I didn't know anything about that.
I didn't even know where the ropes were until last year. Right? You hear people talk about them, and I've been down there, but no one. It's accessibility. Accessibility is an issue.
Well, and what it really came down to also, after spending a little time down there, was it's our house. It is the people's democracy. And access to that is one of the most important things. And that's really the reason that Voices of Families for Justice exists, because if these voices are not down at the Capitol, then there's no need for the Capitol.
No. Well, it's not serving the function in anything that it's supposed to serve in anything other than name, right? If you don't have the folks down there, these laws are impacting, what are you doing? You've got a bunch of elected officials who, as we found last year, oftentimes say one thing to their constituents and do something else behind closed doors. And they're just enacting the law as they see fit, or maybe as they are financially incentivized to see fit. And I think that's a problem.
Right. Because there were people down there. I mean, there's the Home Depots and other big corporations.
The Hospital Association.
The Georgia Hospital Association, Georgia Municipal Association. There are big groups that maintain also a watchdog presence there to make sure that big corporate interests and insurance lobby interests are being thoroughly represented in front of the elected officials that are making decisions. And all the more reason for families to have their stories there and represented as often as possible.
And so I think what you started last year was maybe trying to even out those scales, right? So there's representation and watchdog presence for real people, for Georgians, right? The folks who have been victims of just negligence in general, whether that be property crimes, sexual assault, medical malpractice, what have you. So how did you navigate that? Who's your first call? Do you call Atlanta News First or WSB? I mean, you call your clients? How do you find a voice?
Yeah, it's that was a learning curve for sure. Honestly, the media is interested in everyday stories. Yeah. The problem with our clients and their stories is everyone is a little island, and not everybody knows about the people next to them with the same experience or similar experience. And that's where the biggest thing that we did was just start communicating. Who do you have who has gone to a jury and told their story and had the jury believe them and do justice? Let's let that person tell what that's like and how these laws, if enacted, are going to change that. So communication was probably step one in the whole thing.
And then that communication and that building sort of all came together, where I know you guys were either on the steps inside or the steps outside on multiple different occasions.
Yeah.
So tell us, if you just kind of tell us a little bit more about how that came to be. I mean, I was out there a couple of days, I know, holding a sign, and there were definitely families up there speaking, but how do you even decide who to call or ask to tell their story, or maybe more importantly, give them the strength to know that, you can do this. I'll be standing right behind you. Sort of talk us through how that went.
Yeah, well, I wish there was an easy route. I would say sort of on a general level, there were pressers that were happening at the Capitol for big corporations and insurance lobbyists. And so once I would get wind of one of those, then I was invigorated to counter it. And so at one point, I think we had a presser on Wednesday on the Capitol steps inside for I think it was all sex assault survivors. And then we had outside on the steps on Thursday, and it was just mainly mothers and families that had daycare abuse cases and other stories like Uber sexual assault that had impacted a 14-year-old, things like that. And then the next day we did violent crime, because there is a huge violent crime issue, throughout the state. And in each instance, we had at least 4 families with signs and their stories tell about them. And they were supported in large part by their family members and community members, and then their attorneys who helped them know that the opportunity was there for them to come down.
Right. And that's maybe a good segue into, if there's folks out there listening to this that want to help, right? And maybe just don't, I have so much respect and admiration for you. You went through navigating, and Natanya too, because I know she was down there a lot, and many others. But how you guys I felt like we're navigating through the dark, right? Yep. Trying to find, they're like, okay, look, if the Hospital Association and Home Depot are going to get their say-so and these insurance companies get access, why aren't the folks on the other side of the V getting the same access? And I imagine that's where VFJ was born, right? Is realizing we need to keep doing this.
Yeah, it did not feel right after the work that so many families did at the Capitol last session to just stop. Because there's a fight to be had every single session, and the other interests will be there. Mm-hmm. So yes, the point was to build on what we already knew how to do. We had already figured out how you reserve the Capitol steps on a Tuesday at 2:00, which is tricky, and sometimes you're kind of in a little power struggle with folks who can make reservations better than you can.
Right.
So the idea was simply to build on that. And when I talk to other lawyers or people who have stories, I have to remind everyone, there is no story that is too small. If you have been through litigation for 3 years in a car accident case with clear liability, and a big insurance company, maybe a State Farm, maybe an Allstate, maybe a Geico, decides to hold on to their $25,000 for 3 years, the reason is so that they can make money off of it. And if they want to run you through the system for that period of time, it's so that they can make money off of it, and because you don't have any recourse other than access to civil justice. So what do they do in the meantime? They send lobbyists to try and limit your access to civil justice. And that's a racket. It's a scheme. It's a broken system. And the only thing that can stop it is people telling their stories of what happened.
Otherwise, no one else is giving these folks a voice, and all we're hearing are or at least the loudest voices that we're hearing are well, there was a huge verdict in this case. It's costing people too much money. We can't get doctors at hospitals. People can't get insurance. No one's going to be insurable. Your car insurance rates are going to go up.
Right.
Whatever. That's all we end up hearing. And so hearing from folks that have been through it is pretty much the only way we found to combat it, right?
That is the only way that I know. I mean, even if the recent Ford verdicts got some press coverage through the AJC recently, and there was, I think, really good reporting on that. But what I didn't get to see or feel or understand is what it was like for those boys who lost their parents, to know that Ford made a $100 decision that cost them their lives, and that was the reason that they weren't there for the next birthday party or there for the next family event or Christmas. Those are the stories that really need to be told so that everyone understands it's not about just somebody else's problem. It's about our families, my children, your children, and what they can expect when it comes to our democracy and our justice system working and being there for them when they need it.
Right. And, I think also something that comes up for me when you said your children and my children and anybody else who's listening to this, right? Is something as simple as feeling safe when you drop your kids off at daycare. Or feeling safe when you drop your kids off at school, or when you stop to get gas in your car. I mean, without these laws, what is there out there protecting folks at public places?
Right. There's nothing, because what we know is that corporations are going to put profits over people unless they're held accountable. And that goes completely across the board. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, attorneys have been the regulators to bring family stories first. Think about the tobacco industry. Why is it different now than it was 40 years ago? The reason is because attorneys helped regulate the system and protected people from something that the corporations knew was going to kill them.
Right. Same with opioids.
Right. I mean, many examples,
Right.
So many examples. And now, there's big money when you start talking about these things, though. You think that the pharmaceutical industry wants families talking about how their choices impact their families? Right? They don't. And that's why the job that we have is big and important. And I don't know, I'm honored to do it, but it is an uphill battle.
Right. And I think that's why there's so much admiration for you kicking off the VFJ and endeavoring to do it, because I think a lot of people in our space have thought about it. We talked about it at dinners. We bitched about it at the bar. We've probably even bitched about it in the hallways of a courtroom, right? Or wherever we might have been, but no one has taken action and done something until you. And I think that's really powerful. And I'm so proud to be a part of that and to be a voice in sponsorship of that and just in stewardship of that, however I can be. And I want as many of the folks that are listening to this to understand how they can also help too.
Yeah, well, I so appreciate that. And I appreciate you and others jumping on board. And I'll say, I think I've said it to you, this is not mine. This is ours. Just like the capital is not theirs, it's ours.
Right.
And each of our clients are owed us helping them know that they have the ability to tell their stories at any level, about whatever it is. It's just so important.
So if there are lawyers out there who have clients that, well, every lawyer has clients, right? Or you're not
True.
You're not doing something right. So everybody that's listening to this that is a lawyer has a client, or if you are not a lawyer but have had this experience with the civil justice system or know somebody who has, how can they reach out?
Yeah, well, so our website is voicesoffamiliesforjustice.com. It is up and running as of this week. We are moving as quickly as we can, but we're putting the pieces together literally as we speak today. You can also, though, find us on social. We are working to get all of that together, but my Instagram is Voices of Families for Justice, and my name, Kara Phillips. So there's an opportunity to share your story at any level, and your client's story. And also, just pick up the phone and call me and let's talk about it.
Yeah. And if you have any issues getting in touch through any of those channels, you guys can also go through Bird Law Group, Bird's Eye View, through us, our website, and we'll make sure it gets routed to the right person. But I think the real strength, they always say strengths in numbers, and I think that's especially true here. It's making sure that the voices of the clients. Now, I think Kara will agree with me. I don't want a bunch of lawyers talking about themselves. I don't care. Cool, we can talk about it at a happy hour or an event that's appropriate for that, but we don't really care as much about that. I think the more important thing is our clients and their stories. So as many of those folks as possible that we can get together, as many stories as we can tell, so that the voice of the families, right, it's in the name, is the one that's the loudest, and it drowns out to the best of our ability. I'm going to set our goals high. It drowns out the insurance lobbyists. It drowns out the hospital association, the municipal association, and all the folks who are out there who want to hold on to their money and not answer for their negligence, which I think is just disgusting. But, it's what we're up against. It's the reality. So yeah, did you guys have clients that you think would be good, or someone out there has a story they want to tell? Just reach out, please.
Yeah, we've all seen that it's a business decision that a corporation and insurance company is going to make unless we have them do otherwise. Mm-hmm. That's why we go to jury trials, and that's why we're doing this. It's the exact same thing. And to echo what Alex said, if you're in a jury trial and your client's jury trial is all about you as a lawyer, it's probably not going to go too well. So,
no.
Very similarly here, the focus is our clients and their stories, and our goal and our ability as lawyers is to give them a platform.
And I would love to have some, we'll probably do it with some of our clients, current and former, that we have resolved cases for, but anybody else has a client that would feel comfortable coming on the podcast and using this as a platform to talk about their stories, I'd love to have them on as guests, whether we do it as a round table or a one-on-one. Like I said, I want to do whatever I can to use this platform to help VFJ, to help the families, to help the people of Georgia take back the capital that was is always supposed to be theirs to begin with. Another thing that I wanted to ask you about is, maybe using some of the advertising, talking about how lawyers, we like to talk about ourselves, we like to advertise, we have to market, and there's a space for all of that. It's just not in this mission. So do you think that some of those lawyers who do have the billboard space, the ad space, the commercial space, the following on social, how could they help?
So important. I mean, I remember during last session seeing a billboard that said something good about insurance companies. They
don't need that help.
That's crazy. But then also think about how many ads you see for Geico with its cute little lizard, or Allstate with its funny mayhem guy. Like, we are up against millions of dollars, and we have something that people actually want to see and hear, which
it's
which
not
are
a lizard,
real stories.
An ostrich. Liberty Mutual has the really funny looking ostrich guy thing.
Right, and then there's Flow or whatever.
Oh, Progressive.
It's all to give us something fake, a fake version of what Voices of Families for Justice is actually creating that's real. And so, social media platforms. I am the first to admit I didn't pay enough attention to needing to be on social media because I had my head down and I was just a trial lawyer. Well, lo and behold, that's what everyone else is looking at all the time. So that billboards, if you have TV commercial time and want to offset the little green Geico lizard, I think it's a great idea. I also think that there is a real place for lawyers to take a hard look at what we look like to the outside public and make sure that it actually comports with what our ethical duty is and our fiduciary obligations are as officers of the court, because now is the time to do the right thing and protect our clients so that they don't have their rights taken away from them.
And it would be real shitty, right, for our clients and for those of you who advertise for your business, if it's your commercials or your Instagram posts that are being brought up during session as evidence of why tort reform is necessary. So, I'm sure all of us have been guilty of it. I'm sure I've been guilty of it. But I think taking a close look at how we market ourselves and internally policing ourselves as a bar is just as important as giving our clients a voice. Because you don't want, the last thing we want is, or especially, the last thing we want is for our messaging to drown out our clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not doing a service to them, and it's not doing a service to our fellow bar members. We have a bigger job than many, and we have an obligation to do it well, and this is a way to do it well and a path to do it well, and something that maybe we've forgotten about a little bit, but now is a good time to remember and do.
Yeah. I mean, because if we don't, there may not be much space left in the law to continue to represent the folks that we care about and represent. And that I sound like I'm being dramatic. It sounds dramatic coming out of my mouth, but it's not. I mean, the legislation, the way we see it going, the trend that I see and what I fear is that we already do have real injuries, real people, and there is no real path to justice for them.
Correct. Yes. And all it takes is looking north. I'm a Tennessee lawyer as well. They've had caps on non-economic damages since 2011. That was just a insurance lobby, big corporation effort that was very successful and is still there in 2025, making it so that a mother of 4 killed by the negligence of another driver has her total damages capped at $1 million no matter what. No matter what. She can be the CEO of Google.
And all that her family's going to get is $1 million.
Well, they can show their economic damages, right. and they might be able to get more than $1 million. But let's say that she isn't the CEO of Google. Let's say that she's a stay-at-home mom,
right,
who is there with her kids. Well, she has a completely different value, and the max value of any human is $1 million.
See, I thought that's why we have juries.
That is,
right? Their enlightened conscience, right? They're supposed to come up with those amounts. So effectively, what a lot of people don't think about is we have legislators behind closed doors telling us what people's lives are worth. It upends the entire system.
Right. And juries are careful. Juries are smart. Juries use their collective experience to come to the conclusions that they come to. And the value of someone's life deserves that.
It does. And I mean, I've certainly had trials where I didn't like what the jury did. I think we all have, right? But in talking to them afterwards, they didn't do it just like flying by the seat of their pants. They talked about it. They thought about it. It was their experiences and the way that they looked at life and the issues in the case that really informed what they did. So we have a jury system for a reason. And I think it's incumbent upon us jury trial lawyers to make sure that that system still has a purpose. And if we aren't careful, it's not going to. It's going to be a jury system in name only, I'm afraid. And that's terrifying for us. That's more terrifying for our clients and for just the people of Georgia and their safety. So like, if you guys are listening and interested in being involved, helping, have stories that need to be told, or you need a platform for those stories, or just help navigating how to get them out there, please reach out to Kara. You can reach out to us as well. I'll be happy to connect you. I think it's really important that we all band together, and in a field that can sometimes be competitive to a fault, we realize that we have a common purpose here. And it's not to be the biggest, baddest advertising lawyer or the one who talks about their huge verdict. It's to make sure our clients' voices are heard and their right to recovery is protected. I think Lindsay Macon said this after a recent settlement. Verdicts feed egos, settlements feed families, right? I think a similar adage applies here. You know, your advertising and talking about yourself feeds your ego. Putting your clients first and getting their story out there and setting your ego aside is what's going to protect the justice system. So any of you out there want to help VFJ with stories, with funding, with billboard space, with ad space, please reach out. I think every little bit helps, and every little bit helps. And the larger of a base we can build, the stronger we will be.
That's right. There are at least 2,000 trial lawyers in the state of Georgia. Each of them has helped at least 100 clients, I'll guess. And that's a lot of people. So if this is triggering something for you, don't sit on it. Just send an email. Just reach out.
Yeah. And look, I will say right now, if you don't have the time to do anything more than send an email or send a text or send an inquiry, we'll pick it up from there.
That's right.
Right? Like, you don't have to do the legwork. That's what the FJ is for. Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important.
Yeah, it takes a community.
It does. It really does. And I know you say it's not yours, but I really thank you for leading the charge.
Well, thank you for this, and thank you for just the energy. It's important.
Yeah.
We all get tired, but it's worth it.
We do. We do. There's a lot of coffee involved in this, but also a lot of passion. So thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. Please reach out, guys. I'll say it over and over and over again. And everything that I'm supposed to say about liking, subscribing, following, listening, sharing, please do all of that. Just get the message out. It's really important. But thanks for tuning in to Bird's Eye View, and stay tuned for the next episode.